Não é preciso ser medalhista numa maratona de estudos para saber que esporte e política desde sempre sobem juntos ao pódio olímpico.
So I think it's actually ironic that the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, continues to present themselves as non-political, because, in my opinion, the advent or the beginning of the modern Olympic Games has been political from the start. I think you can see the founders of the game, and the first ones in 1896 was actually a kind of confederation or an organization of Western countries who promoted particular sport forms that were Western sport forms. And anybody who wanted to be part of that group had to comply to their directions as well as, and that's still the case today. The IOC is still largely controlled in its governance by, Western white men, basically.
A exploração do esporte como uma poderosa ferramenta de propaganda política ficou mais evidente em meados dos anos 1900.
Then you see how political it becomes in 1936 with the Nazi Olympics. Okay, and you see two political ideologies facing off, with the Americans and especially the American black athletes beating Hitler's so-called, super race.
You didn't mention, though, is the Cold War. And the Olympics become a kind of, and I would argue against this, but many people feel it became a surrogate war, where you could not actually shoot each other, but on the other hand, this sport became a kind of way of replacing that level of competition, because you had this clarity of communism versus capitalism during the Cold War. We don't have that. And I think a lot of the things that we're seeing here are competing commercial forces that are putting one nation or another before each other, but not necessarily for the classic reasons that we see politics aiding the image of a nation.
Para entender melhor a simbologia do ranking olímpico, basta olhar para o quadro de medalhas, ou melhor, para a contagem dele. Enquanto o mundo dá peso diferente às 3 medalhas, valorizando mais as de ouro, os Estados Unidos passaram a contar a soma absoluta de todos os pódios, o que os coloca em primeiro lugar do ranking. Seguindo os critérios clássicos, onde a medalha de ouro tem peso maior, a China estaria em primeiro lugar no ranking das Olimpíadas.
And the two of them are going to be vying throughout this Olympics to see who gets the most gold medals, because China is clearly challenging and predictably will surpass the U.S. Economically, maybe in the next 10 years already. Okay, and they're clearly using this newfound strength or power. Sport is just one way in which they can demonstrate their power, and as you said, they both use two different ways to try to prove which culture is better. This is not just an athletic statement. It's a statement about one's whole culture and system of government. So the Olympics is much more than just an athletic contest. It is very political, and governments realize that.